Good evening. Mazel tov to Rabbi Avrohom on his Siyum. I often say that there are a few things which I rely on to get me into Olam Haba, and one of them is the schus of learning Yerushalmi, Baruch Hashem, through the recordings which we made on the entire Yerushalmi. Many people have come to learn Yerushalmi and be Messiah Yerushalmi, and it's a tremendous schus for me to have had a part in this Siyum, and tremendous nachas ruach as well. And Rabbi Avrohom should be zeicha to go michayil chayil. I wanted to say a few words in Yonah D'Yoma from the Yerushalmi. There's a fascinating Gemara in Yerushalmi Yebamos. Yerushalmi Yebamos says on Daf Yud Gimel Amud Aleph. It says which is Perek Beis Halacha Vav. It says that there was a king Hadad ben Tavrimon ben Chizyon melech Aram Hayoshe b'Dמשק, and he was called Kotzetz ben Kotzetz. And then it says where we see precedent for that kind of a description. K'modat Amar, like you say, Ki Haman ben Hamdasa, and here the Farshim at a Girsa Agagi, v'chi ben Hamdasa haya, and again they say, was he v'chi ben Hamdasa Agagi haya, elo Tzorer ben Tzorer, avhacha Kotzetz ben Kotzetz. No, he was a Tzorer HaYehudim ben Tzorer, again with the Girsa Agagi, the Agag was a Tzorer HaYehudim, and that he was the precedent for saying Kotzetz ben Kotzetz, the description by Hadar ben Tavrimon ben Chazyon. So from the Pashup Pshat Yerushalmi, it's not necessarily the only Pshat, but the Pashup Pshat Yerushalmi is that Haman was not descended from Agag. In fact, in the Targum Sheni and Masechet Sofrim, when it gives the yichus of Agag, of Haman, it gives the yichus to Amalek, but Agag is not mentioned. Some people say that the reason for that is because Agag is the name given to all kings of Amalek. So therefore, what the Gemara, according to the Abshat, what the Gemara is saying is that Haman ben Hamdasa a king? Was he an Agag? No. He was a descendant from an Agag, from a king, and therefore he is Sorare ben Sorare. But the more Pashup Pshat is that Haman wasn't even necessarily from Amalek altogether, notwithstanding what it says in Masechet Sofrim and Targum Sheni. But Haman took upon himself a shita. He took upon himself the political flag and party of the Agagites, and Haman followed through on that because Agag was a Tzorah Yehudim. And Haman liked that philosophy and adopted that philosophy, and who too became a Tzorah HaYehudim. There is in the Sfarim, there's a statement. What does Tzorah HaYehudim mean? Tzorah HaYehudim means literally, of course, a person who caused tsar to other Jews, but to the Jews, or Tzorah Kol Yehudim, to all the Jews. But the Sfarim say Tzorah HaYehudim also can mean that he gathered together, a language of Tzorah Kaspo, the bundle of money. He gathered together all the Jews, and the purpose of Haman's Gezerah was to bring about Lech Kenosis Kol HaYehudim, in order to bring about the gathering of all the Jews together, and it was the Achdus, which Haman caused, which was the purpose of his Kitrug and of his Gezerah, and that was ultimately accomplished, and therefore at that point the Gezerah Mela was in and of itself Batel Mevulto, ceased and was nullified. So, according to this understanding, there is a notion of Tzorah Kol HaYehudim, which HaKadosh Baruch Hu places upon us when necessary in order to gather us together. It's quite possible, the reason I'm not with you today in person, which is the coronavirus. I do not think I have it, but I've been exposed to carriers, and therefore we're being precautious. And if that's a word, being cautious, taking precautions, is because we see Mika Amcha Yisrael Goyecha Ba'aretz, that where there's concern of Jews across the world, and when there is this kind of virus and people come together and do chasadim and have an achdus which transcends the normal boundaries which divide us, and perhaps that's why there's unique shaychus between coronavirus and Purim, in that there's a purpose in coming together in this way by being faced by an enemy. It's interesting, of course, that people who are in quarantine are mivudad. I once had a Rosh Hashiva who said that the purpose of davening b'tzibur is lihisboded biyachad. Sometimes one can become solitary in unity, and unity in solitary. And there's the individuality of every Jew is not erased by unity, but rather contributes to unity. And we shall be zeicha to have the unity which is not based on erasing distinctions or diminishing one's own personal qualities, but rather on unity between all sorts of people. And as we know, it says that in actually it's a story told about Reb Yitzchak Breuer and Reb Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld, who were once sitting together in a waiting room in an antechamber to meet with the British, if I recall correctly. And Reb Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld told Dr. Breuer the following gematria, well-known set of gematrias. Siyum b'mishpat tipodeh v'shavel b'tzedakah. And he said, Siyum b'mishpat tipodeh is a gematria Talmud Yerushalmi. And b'mishpat tipodeh is a gematria Talmud Bavli. And we need both Talmud Bavli and Talmud Yerushalmi, but Talmud Yerushalmi first, in order to bring about the ultimate redemption of Tzion. Tzion b'mishpat tipodeh. What is b'mishpat? We know that B'chodesh Adar is Mesugol for Simcha and for Hatzlacha and for Mazel. And that's why if a person has a din, a mishpat, a person is supposed with, especially with a non-Jew, a person is supposed to put that off until Adar if possible, because Adar is the time when mishpat is best, because Mazel is best, which is a fascinating thing. That means that mishpat is determined also by Mazel, because if we think about it, the mishpat is the mishpat Hashem, and the mishpat Hashem has to do directly with the mazel which HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives in each individual. So therefore, when the mazel is best at Adar, the mishpat is best, and therefore Siyum in Adar of Yerushalmi, which represents mishpat, is particularly appropriate. And a little bit deeper than that, why does Yerushalmi represent mishpat in this sense? Because the Chazal tells us in Mesechus Sanhedrin, the midah of the Talmid Chacham of Eretz Yisrael was Noam, and Noam is the man'imim zeh lezeh b'halacha, and they would learn together with great ne'imus. Hinei matovu manoim sheves achim gam yachad, and there would be a sense of peace and a sense of pleasantness, darchei Noam, which comes from the learning of Eretz Yisrael. And the idea of the learning of Eretz Yisrael is different than the purpose of learning in Chutz La'aretz. The Chutz La'aretz is meant to do is pilpul, is to toss mountains at each other, be oker orim, and the limud in Eretz Yisrael was b'ni'imus. It was meant to do things with a clarity and with a directness, which is to manifest itself in the terse quality of the Yerushalmi. And that way, it's a different way of learning, but that is the learning of Mishpat, when things are always in the proper place. They're not stormy and what's the word I'm looking for? They're not stormy and the word escapes me, and controversial. They are pleasant and clear. And the idea of Mishpat, therefore, is restores Darchei Noam. And that the Darchei Noam is the Noam of Eretz Yisrael. And with that, we defeat Haman ben Hamdasa Agagi. I saw a beautiful gematria in one of the Sfarim. Haman ben Hamdasa Agagi equals 619, which is the word Acharis. And the word Acharis is, he says, is the language from the statement Hamagid Meireshis Acharis. Haman thought that he'd be able to determine with his rashis, with his poor, the Acharis of the Jewish people, and then from the level of 619, which is Acharis, he will go up to the level of 620, which is Keser. And that Keser is Keser, which he thought would be the Keser Malchus, in which he would be the representative of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's power in this world, which is what Amalek tries to do. Amalek, according to the Ishbitzer, extends his hooves and says, like a chazir, I am Tor. And that way he explains why Agag, what it means that Agag went Madonos to meet Shaul. He said if you saw Agag, you would think this is the most refined and sophisticated person in the world. I once asked Reb Simcha Zissel that's how who was in Ner Yisrael for a while when I was there, asked him, do you really believe in your shita that if Esav came to the base medrash, he'd be dressed in a frock in Hamburg and we put him on the Mizrach Wand? He said, yeah, of course. That's exactly how Esav HaRasha looked. He looked like Rosh Hashiva. So it's interesting because the Divrei Chaim of Tzan says you have to be very careful because in our time, most of the Balabatim, the Hasidim, and the Rabbanim are from the Erev Rav. So I guess there's precedent for that. But Amalek also, if Amalek were just a simple enemy, that would be no big deal. But Amalek looks like he is actually royally itztala. He's worthy of having that Kesem Malchus Barosha. And the idea is that he's not roy for Kesem Malchus Barosha. But like Chazal say, Chutzpah Malchusa B'li Taga. Haman ben Abdasa Agagi is a king without a crown. He didn't get to the Taga, but he had Chutzpah. And Chutzpah, Chazal say, Chutzpah B'ikosad Mashiach Yaske. At the time of Bias Mashiach, there's going to be a lot of Chutzpah. And Reb Tzadok says that this is not also a positive, not just a negative, because Chutzpah Afilu Klape Shmaya Mahanya means that when we need to have Mashiach, we have to be chutzpahdik in being facing all the nisyonis, all the difficulties, all the issues which confront us always in everything we go, especially b'zman hazeh, when everything is in nisayon, and also to be strong in our demand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to see the Gula Shlema b'mheira. But the idea, therefore, is that we should use chutzpah in order to take the Reishis Goyim Amalek, Magimi Reishis Achris, and make him Adei Oved. Use that midah when necessary in order to eradicate Amalek. So there's chutzpah, but that chutzpah is not supposed to be internal. It's supposed to be klape chutz, even klape shmaya, but not between ourselves, which is the midah of Yerushalmi. Again, between ourselves, that has to be darchei noyam. And we have to be able to preserve that achdus which we have, which comes about as a result, sometimes, of that chutzpah which is directed at us, of Tzorer Kol HaYehudim. So, the Yerushalmi, again, as we said, it's particularly appropriate to be Messiah during Adar, which is the month of Mishpat, have flowing with Mazel and with Bracha, and with a sense of uplifting oneself towards Purim and towards being part and parcel of Mordechai. I saw Mordechai, Yemini, and Yehudi, could be Haimi and Yehudi, all those together are the gematria of Mishpat. And Mishpat is one less than Shekel. So Mordechai and Mishpat come together. You can darshan that. I'll leave that for you because I've spoken long enough. But we shall be zeichet to see Keser Torah of Yerushalmi come back into its glory and luster, and we should be zeichet to many more people like Yerushalmi and Reb Avrohom specifically, to him and to his wife and to his family, a tremendous mazel tov. You should be zeichet to go michayil el chayil. You should be zeichet to learn and to Yerushalmi and to avodas Hashem and to the simcha of Torah. And we should all be zeichet through that to Siyum b'mishpat todbad v'shaveh b'tzedakah b'imheira b'yameinu amen. Thank you very much. Afreilich and Purim.